right, so Happy With You by Paul McCartney. This is off his newest album, just released last month, September 7th, 2018. And I actually had a request to do this song. Sorry, I don't remember your name, but I remember your email, and it was like, oh, you should do Happy With You because I think this is another McCartney classic. And, you know, I'd never heard it before because I hadn't really focused on that album. But I had a quick listen to all the songs on the album, and this definitely is a standout for me on that album. And I think you're right. I think it is another gem by McCartney. Anyways, let's get into it. So we're in the key of D, and I'm doing it with that E string drop down to D as well. Okay, and I'm only going to use that note, on the last chord, right? And on one note in the bridge, but we'll get to that in a second. So we're going to start like this. The whole song we're going to be hitting fours with our thumb and letting it ring. And to start the beginning with our finger, and Paul just plays with one finger, right? Always, this picking stuff is always just his thumb and his first finger. Okay, so he's just going to go. So we're kind of E string, B string, G string, right? In the little trill there. Okay, so you put them together. And the thing about songs like this is, even though they're like really simple, you got to play it in time. You know, you can't rush it or let it drag. You know, you've got to be spot on. Okay, now as that D string or D note on the B string rings, we want to change finger positions. So we're going to bar on the 3rd fret, the B and E string. And we're going to now trill on the 7th fret, or sorry, the 5th fret of the E string. Exactly the same picking, and then we're gonna get back to the regular D. So and now this part of the song is always a little bit different, okay? So, but in the beginning he's gonna go, so just E string, B string, and then we're gonna do a pull-off from 3 to 2 on the B string. And when we get to that, we're gonna now kind of, you know, drag our finger across the B and the E string and the B and the G string, right? So we're getting 2-note chords like a regular guitar player would go. You'd get 2 fingers in there, right? And of course you can play it that way, you know, but if you want to play it like Paul plays it, and a lot of people do, you just use your first finger and drag across the strings. So far we've got Now we're going to go back up, and you can either just hammer that on, or you can pick it with your first finger. It repeats, right? And now we're going to go up here, and this is like a D-shaped G chord, and we're going to go exactly like that. And now we're going to do this little run, which goes. And to me, that's the hook of the song. I love that part. It's so simple, but it's It reminds me a lot of Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel. It's got the flute, doubles that part, right? And it gets this just vibe about it. And there, you know, again, we're dragging that finger across the two strings. Or you could play it with two fingers. What that run is we're going to go G7 and B8, and then we're going to go G6 and B5. These two note chords, right? And then we're going to go G7 and B7. So we've got, now we've got G4 and B3, back up to G6 and B5, and then G2 and B2. It's like an A chord, right? And we're back to our D. And we've got that, you know, D string going 4 the whole time. So. And we've got that in between, open D string and D note on the B string. So and now the whole thing repeats for the next verse, right? Okay, but then after that we're going to go to the bridge, which will go to this F chord. And the picking on that is, again, we've got 4 on that D string, right, which is playing the F note now. It's like an F major 7, right, but we're adding this 13th here. So you'd call it an F major 13th. There's no 5th in it, but there's no C, right, because we're getting the D there instead. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you'll remove a 5th in the 13th chord because you don't have enough fingers, right, on a guitar. Okay, so we've got right, so thumb just doing 4s and fingers going. And together. Okay, now next chord is this. It's like an E minor 7, and we do the exact same picking. But then we're gonna go to this A. So now, the guitar part on the record doesn't actually go to the A, it just goes. Just cycles between those two chords, and it lets the bass cover the bottom end. But if you're playing this by yourself, you're going to want to play that A. And then just repeats. Except the last time we want to go to this low D. Okay, and that's how it ends. All right, so when you go to the low D, and we just drag across the E and the B string with that first finger. And then we're back to like I said, this part is always a bit different. So sometimes they'll go, right? Other times they'll go, do the little trill, and it'll go down. So you can go up or down. Da, 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 or dun, 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 dun. That's up, right? And probably best to listen to the track to get those when you do that, if it even matters. You know, I'm sure Paul, when he played this in the studio, probably played a bit different every take, right? Because it's really not that important. It's whatever you feel at the time. And now, the ending, we just keep repeating that last run, right? So the first time, and that's about it for this one. Very simple song, but very beautiful song. And you know, like I always say, it doesn't need to be complex to be great. And it's another good example of that. And another amazing example of McCartney's ability at composing. Like, the guy is, how old is he now? I don't know. He's getting up there, and he's still just able to create these beautiful little pieces of music, right? Anyways, love Paul, love this song, and I hope you get something out of the lesson. I hope you enjoy playing it, and we'll talk to you next time.